Hello and welcome to the Greg Fearon podcast with your host, Greg Fearon. And today I've got the amazing Candice Weymouth back. It's been, about a year now since we caught up on the podcast. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. It's been about a year.
Wow. So what's been going on in that year?
Well, since last year, I was pregnant. So I now have a baby girl who's 4.5 months old. It's been an exciting year with lots going on.
Wow. And that must be a big change for you because obviously you were, you had a gym set up, you had loads of stuff going on. That must be a big change for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the word, I wouldn't want to say deluded, but I had a vision for my business post baby, and things didn't quite go that way. But also like the journey in itself, being pregnant, the changes that you go through mentally, physically, the hormonal changes, the social changes, all of that has a big impact on women. And I think it's not talked about that much. Like, we all know the physical changes, you grow in a baby, but some of the other things that you don't think are issues actually are. It's been a really challenging year, but, rewarding at the same time.
Awesome. So obviously we caught up. When did we catch up? Was it like December time or when?
I think it was earlier. I think it was
December, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was indeed. Cool. So what has changed then? You were just talking to and alluding to the whole kind of changes that have happened. So what's happened for you?
So I knew having a baby was going to be challenging. Not only am I self-employed, but I made a decision to bring up the baby by myself. So I knew that in terms of support, what I wouldn't want to say what normal people have, but what lots of people have at home with supportive partners. I knew I didn't have. But then also being self-employed and having to keep things ticking over just to get by. I don't have a normal maternity or employment to help. So that's been really challenging. Things were set up in place in terms of in-person clients I had and coaches. I hired a team of coaches to continue working with them and look after my clients. But then certain things were happening. Coaches were poaching clients. So there was all of that going on as well. But I feel like 4 months on, we've moved into an online direction. Those that are still having coaches are working really well. The coaches I now have are awesome, super supportive. So we're now at a better place in terms of, business and routine and lifestyle. Really, we now know each other a little bit. So I know what she needs and how to help her with what she needs, instead of just, oh my God, you're crying again and I don't know what to do.
No, just feed her. She wants food.
Awesome. Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed, you were training pretty much all the way through pregnancy. Is that correct?
Yeah. I trained right up until about 38 and a half weeks pregnant. And she was born when I was 41 weeks. So it was about, 2.5 weeks. That I just had a bit more rest and downtime, and I was actually made to stay at home and wait for the baby.
So someone had to physically tell you must stay at home and you don't have to train and relax.
The last couple of weeks I did a lot of walking. I was trying to walk her out. But my family were like, enough now, you need to rest.
And did you find training all the way through your pregnancy was really good for you?
Yeah, massively so. Not only because I wanted to maintain as much strength as I could and stay supple and mobile. It wasn't about lifting PBs or, trying to be as strong as I possibly could be. It was just simply moving. I knew that labor was pending and that was going to be an endurance event like no other. So, I wanted the strength for that, and then for my recovery as well. But at the same time, it helped me mentally just to continue my normal routine and actually, feel the benefits that your body go through whilst exercising.
Well, I guess it's easier I guess for a lot of ladies, they generally tend to stop training as soon as they kind of get the I'm pregnant, notification, and then they stop training, and then obviously it's harder to get back because it's such a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny how there's a generation view upon training now. My mum, my auntie, and some of my older clients really couldn't get their head around why I was training the way I was, and why I just wasn't just resting, or I don't know what pregnant women do. Obviously, this is the first time I've gone through it, but I kept, I wasn't unwell. I was able and physically able to carry on. So to me, it made sense to. But yeah, I had a lot of stick off people. I had to prove there was research behind pregnant women exercising for all of these reasons. I was constantly having to refer back to research and share articles with those that were giving me that advice.
Yeah, because I think I saw a lady once who was like still lifting, and she was still doing overhead squats, and there was a big outcry about it, going, she's crazy, like why is she doing that, why she's pregnant? So you think that needs to change, right? That attitude needs to change.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of fear around it, and there are things you need to avoid and be careful of. Obviously, you are growing a human, and your body's changing. There's hormones are affecting, ligaments, tissues, and your energy levels aren't the same. So there's lots of, you need to be mindful around your training, but you can still do a lot of what you were able to do before. And obviously it still depends on, your level of experience with training as well. If somebody was brand new and had never exercised or lifted weights or trained in resistance manner before, then I wouldn't encourage them to do it throughout their pregnancy. I would, advise them to stick with things they've done similarly to, prior to being pregnant. But yeah, there's lots of women who have trained really hard, and then all of a sudden they get pregnant and they just stop. And yeah, they're scared, which I get.
Well, it's really weird, right? Because I love animals, yeah. And David Attenborough is my hero.
Yeah.
And I was watching a program, and the lions, like, they were pregnant, but they were still hunting. Like, they were still jumping on buffaloes and stuff. It was crazy. So what really makes us different, really?
Yeah, and that makes sense, because it's survival for them, isn't it? Like they have to continue hunting to live.
Yeah.
And see the next day, or I don't know I don't know how often lions hunt and how long that lasts, but I would say we're the same. Yeah, doing things that are normal should just be incorporated into pregnancy and as soon as possible afterwards.
Cool. So are there any things that women have to do specifically? Because I used to run a gynecology and maternity unit, so I've seen the whole gamut of what happens, what needs to happen. But is there anything that women should be doing and checking before they get back to training after having a baby?
Yeah, so I know that most women have like a postnatal check. Some women have more thorough pelvic floor checks. I didn't have that. I just had a case of like, a couple questions over the phone. How are you feeling? Blah, 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 blah. And thankfully I was okay. I had a C-section, so I knew that I needed to take a little bit more care in terms of my return to exercise. And I very much advise women to listen to their body and take it slow. And that's really hard to, I mean, I'm a personal trainer. I'm from a sporting background. It was really hard for me to do that. But at the same time, I could feel how my body was recovering. I could feel how, I have a scar and it was pulling, and, I know that it wasn't normal. So yeah, you really need to listen to your body and just take it slow. And I always advise just body weight movements to begin with. That's always enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then just build from there. But at the same time, there's so many professionals out there who would be willing to give that advice to keep women safe.
Cool. So what's changed in your training since obviously the C-section? What are you doing differently?
So my core strength is the weakest it's ever been. So obviously I had a separation of my abdominal muscles, which is really common.
Yep.
And there's a term for it, but I always say it wrong, so I'm not even going to say it out.
That's why I'm going to do it. Diastasis recti.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, and I still have that.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel that certain body weight movements that I was comfortable and capable of doing before weren't happening because I just didn't have the core strength.
Yep.
So I've been really focusing on full body range movements, moving a lot through my hips, lots of squats, lunges, but keeping the weight really minimal, and just body weight's been enough for me. And doing the breathing exercises to help repair and help bring my core back together. I'm 18, I think we're 19 weeks now postnatal, so that is starting to improve, but I still do have a bit of separation there. So,
but I think the key though, that like you said, is time and patience, right? It's like anything.
Yeah.
You have to give it time and patience.
Yeah, definitely. And I know it's really hard to do because I knew what my physical capabilities were before having a baby.
Yep.
And it's hard to be patient sometimes, but I have no choice. I cannot risk injury now whilst trying to be a mum and not really having anyone else at home to help me.
But I guess you also have to train because of how it helps your mind, how it helps your body. It's almost who you are, right? Because you're like the Welsh Wonder Woman. So as we call you. So for you, that's also keeping the mind ticking over, keeping you. It probably makes you a better mum, right? Because if you don't train and exercise and eat right, you can't be a good mum, right?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's massively like part of my routine. Training is a non-negotiable for me, and I know that. And I work with and specialize with now working with women, busy women and busy mums who really struggle to find the time to exercise and to eat right, and obviously do all the things that I'm very much used to doing. So I think I've just built it back into our routine. I train consistently every week without fail. And if I cannot get to the gym, I do things at home. And obviously I know that I have the knowledge and experience with that. But it's a non-negotiable for me. And it really does help with not just my routine, but how I'm feeling in myself. And I really believe that transfers across to how I am as a mum, and in other areas of my life as well.
Well, someone we both know very well would say, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a great little point. Move into like busy women who are professionals. We both have a very similar niche, I think, in that way. Yeah. So how do you help the ladies you work with make looking after themselves a priority?
So like I always say, routine is important, and being consistent with that routine. And I'm not saying it needs to be, a full packed, routine, but I mean, if you're committing to making physical and mental changes for yourself, you need to be consistent doing that. And that's probably the one thing that prevents people from getting to where they want to be in any area of life, is being consistent. So I do try and get that across to the ladies I work with. And it doesn't always mean that you're going to smash 3 sessions a week. Like, life happens, things fall into the way of you getting things done sometimes, but trying to work around those obstacles. And maybe that might mean changing your session today. Maybe you can't do it today, but you can do it tomorrow. Maybe that means you need to get some walking in. make adjustments elsewhere, but try and be as routine and as consistent as possible.
So I think it sounds like we both got a very similar outlook. It's like, what can you do rather than what can't you do? Is that the mindset you take?
Yeah, definitely. And something is always better than nothing. You can't get to the gym, you haven't got time to do an hour workout. That's fine. That's you're busy. What can you do instead that's going to help you?
One thing that's always interested me, and obviously maybe it's because I'm a man, I don't know, but I guess the ladies I work with, and you probably see the same, is that they'll always put work and children above everything.
Yeah.
And that's probably what holds them back, right?
Yeah. And I know it must be, obviously I'm new to being a mum, so there's sometimes it can be easy to look in on the outside and not understand why people are doing that. For me, obviously I only can speak on my own experience, but if I'm physically and mentally well, whatever it takes for me to be that makes a difference to everything else I do. My business is better, my business functions better, life is better, the baby, I feel, is happier. Maybe I'm not as tired, maybe I'm not as stressed because I'm doing certain things. So how I am with her, it transfers across.
Awesome.
So so for those that prioritize their health last, it needs to be higher up that list, because it impacts every other area of your life, their work life, their life being a parent.
Got it. And obviously your little one's gonna grow up seeing you doing what you do, right? So and that's gonna be amazing for her, right?
Yeah, I hope so. She's already been to the gym like hundreds of times. If I don't have her with me, members at the gym, the other PTs, they're all like, where's the baby? We're waiting for the baby to come in.
Yeah.
That's an environment she's already comfortable in. And she loves it. She sits there and just watches what everyone's doing, probably thinking like, what are you doing at this time of morning? But it's an environment that she's already really comfortable being in. But I know for others, they may not want to be taking their little one to the gym. For me, it's just really important in helping myself and my own well-being.
Yeah, I think there's often a line when people say like the gym is their time.
Yeah.
So, and I get that. I can see why that happens, but I also think it's important to let your children see what you do and why you're doing it, because it's important. Because I think if you hide it too much, they don't see the benefit and they won't follow in your footsteps.
Yeah. And a lot of the time she's with me, and I have to work out around her being with me. I do try and time it so that she sleeps, and sometimes that works, but then sometimes they don't do what you want them to do all the time. And then there's times that she's been with other family members, so that I've been able to work out or get some work done. So then that's been nice, that I haven't had to worry about her being there. And so it's just getting a balance. And I know that that's the hardest thing. Not everyone has a support network around, but there are ways to still get things done.
And I guess that goes back to what can you do rather than what can't you do? Because I think that's the thing that holds people back, is they're so focused on, well, I can't go to the gym 4 times a week, I can't meal prep every day, or whatever, instead of thinking about what can you do.
Some people have the luxury of before I had a baby, I had loads of time, and I didn't appreciate the time that I had to get things done, whereas now I have to find the time to get those things done, if that makes sense. Especially with my business, having a baby has made me more organized on a business level as well. And it's also, I think, falls in line with what you enjoy doing. I have clients who really enjoy cooking, so meal prep for them isn't an issue. Meal prep for me is a chore. So I now eat very day to day, but I also have an understanding of calories, nutrition, and I stay on track that way. And I try to advise, clients. You get those that enjoy doing that and those that don't. I try and advise them both ways. And yeah, everyone's different. So
yeah, I guess that's the key, isn't it? Is working with the individual rather than you must do this rule, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Got it. So I just want to talk about some of the myths and stuff that you must still hear all the time from your clients about why they can't lose weight, why they can't get in shape, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Give me some of the juicy stuff that clients or people around you still say that you just go, oh my God.
Yeah. I think the biggest one is I don't eat that much, but I can't lose weight. I barely eat.
Yeah.
But they obviously do. They obviously, half the time it's unconscious snacking. Obviously, but if you're not losing weight, you're overeating at some point or over consuming calories. Maybe you don't eat that much, but maybe you drink a lot of alcohol or a lot of high calorie drinks.
And that's crazy. I think that's a really great point about I don't eat that much, but like you say, it might be high calorie foods that are making them in a calorie surplus, right?
Yeah. And I think that falls in line with lack of understanding and knowledge around nutrition.
Do you often get people say that they don't want to track their food or they don't want to look at or do food diaries and stuff?
Yeah. And I understand that tracking your food can be time consuming. I've worked with a lot of clients that really want a flexible approach to their lifestyle. And I'm very much the same, which is why I highly encourage tracking. I don't like eating the same meals and food every day. I like eating out. I like eating different places. I like eating a variety of different things. I think that's normal.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm kind of like, if you can just spend a bit of time figuring out the app and, actually learn how to use it, it's really going to benefit your life. But it's the same with everything. You need to learn how to do things first before you sometimes reap the rewards of doing it.
But I guess it's I think what's happened is that people have made out that tracking food is really, really really time consuming. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've probably worked out it probably takes about 2-3 minutes per meal, if that. Once you get in the swing of it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a really small price to pay to lose the weight that for lots of people and lots of women that you probably work with have held them back for years. Spending a couple minutes around your meals to make sure you're in line with your targets is a really small price to pay.
I guess it's just trying to eat in alignment with the goals you want, right?
Yeah. I think there's a big stigma around tracking calories.
Yes.
And it's crazy because you get people who will turn up to Slimming World once a week. That's less. So you turn up there for, your weigh-in, which maybe should take 15-20 minutes, but maybe you're there an hour, maybe an hour and a half. By the time you're chatting to other members, you've gone in to be told that you've gained a pound or you've lost a pound, whatever it is. The results, some people really exceed and do well.
Yeah.
But that's more time consuming than every day spending a couple minutes around your meals and actually being educated with your nutrition, calories, food, your own diet. But you're going to go to somewhere like that and be told by someone who isn't nutritionally qualified that you cannot exercise and you've gained a pound.
It's crazy, isn't it? It is crazy. And
Yeah.
because I think what I'm seeing now, especially with the likes of, TikTok, Instagram, and all that stuff, is this rise in what's called anti-diet culture.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen that a lot. I'm trying to get my head around it all. It just sounds it's almost extreme in another direction, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I've not seen a huge amount of that, but then I've not spent as much time on some social media apps as I used to.
Good.
But yeah, it is, because obesity it's it's an epidemic. It's massive.
Mm.
It's affecting a lot of people. Lots of people are hospitalized, unwell, with other issues relating to their weight. And even like coming out of this pandemic that we've been in, those that are carrying more weight are, there's research to suggest they're affected worse.
Yeah.
So why there's this anti-dieting culture when there's a huge amount of people who don't understand what they're doing wrong, or maybe have an addiction to food, that need help. So it does seem really extreme.
I think there's still this big stigma around the word diet. I think what's happened is, checking the little one. What's happened is, and my favorite Shelly down the road, she's tried really extreme methods to lose weight. So when she hears the word diet, it sets alarm bells in her head about what she's been through before.
Yeah. I understand that there's it can be a negative association with that word. I think for people, those like Shelly down the road who have done all the extreme diets and have tried anything and everything to lose their weight, probably the one thing they haven't tried is to invest in somebody qualified to help them through every single step and hurdle that they're going to face.
Yep.
Instead of them reverting back to past dieting behaviors. So naturally it's negative for them.
You just hit the nail on the head. Like, why do you think people don't reach out for help from a professional?
I think fear.
Mm-hmm.
And also what I'm experiencing lately is when you speak to somebody who, like, a professional in that area, and they tell you, the cost it may take to work with them and help them and not fix them, but to fix this issue that they may have and teach them, they're not willing to invest. They see the cost of that. I know it's not for everyone, but then they're not willing to invest because that seems bigger than what they've already done. Where in their past, they've probably spent 3 times that amount on all those different fad diets that they've tried.
And also they're going to get the payoff afterwards down the track, right? So they work with you or me or whatever, and they're going to get so many other benefits of that, and they can go away and actually never have to do all that stuff they did before.
Definitely.
I think maybe the issue is that because things like personal training has almost become, they've seen it so cheap, and they think because it's all over the internet, it's so easy to do. Oh well, I'll just £5 a week or whatever.
And that's I had a call with somebody this week, and I said that to her. She was kind of like, well, when do I see you? And I explained that this was something I used to do. I used to be a really, really busy in-person trainer, and I love the social side of it even now. But I found that women were turning up to see me twice a week for 1 hour, 2 hours a week, and they weren't doing all of the things they needed to do around that, to achieve the result they wanted in their diet, their mindset, their health, whatever it was. They weren't doing any of that because they were seeing a personal trainer twice a week.
Yep. And it's funny because, I'm similar to you. I used to do loads of in person. I used to do loads of boot camps and all that stuff. And I used to get upset when they'd be like, Greg, I'm getting fitter, I'm getting stronger, but I just can't lose weight.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. They would come with the same problems that they started with because they just weren't doing. I found that, and I think this was during the whole COVID, where we weren't actually seeing people face to face. People were getting better results. People were having to actually focus on the things that they've ignored.
And that, you just hit a nail on the head. Like when I moved into kind of online coaching and nutrition coaching, it was like night and day, really.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the distraction of, I've got my 2 sessions or 3 sessions a week with Greg. I can smash those sessions and then I can continue my other habits.
Yeah. I honestly think as well that having a personal trainer became a bit of I can't think of the right word, but became
status symbol, maybe.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word, but yeah,
cool.
Definitely. I remember one of my friends actually saying that to me. She was like, "Oh, I have a personal trainer." She was mocking the idea of having a personal trainer. She trained with me. She's like, "Oh, I have a personal trainer. Like, I'm really up there now in life." And it's always stuck in my head. And I see some clients around the gym, and I'm kind of like, I feel like you train with that trainer because it's like a status popularity thing. Are you really getting your results? Not saying that trainer's not any good and can't help them, but some people you see don't make change week on week. You see them at your local gyms. You wonder why they carry on.
But is there something then in that about what you might invest in getting a transformation? And when I say transformation, a real lifestyle change, mindset change, physical change, versus I'll just keep paying someone every week per hour. And also, if I don't go, I don't pay them. So therefore, there's no risk to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think it masks like the issues that they have. Oh, it's fine, I've got a personal trainer. Oh, it's okay, I got my session tomorrow. So you're kind of hiding the deeper insecurities and worries that you have because you've got a personal trainer. Like, for that hour you feel great. Maybe an hour afterwards, maybe you've lifted a PB and you're like, buzzing off that. But yeah, it's not actually helping you with deeper issues.
And I think that's what we're able to do, and especially online as well, like because we can talk to people and see what's really going on. Whereas in maybe in a PT session, you can't do that. You just don't have time. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I've been there as well, where I've been back to back for hours and hours. I'd have one client in, one client out. I then built like group training sessions because I'd have people wanting to train at the same times. There was only so many hours I had available. So then those sessions become even busier because I'd have 2 or 3, and then that become 3 to 4 women at the same time. And I'm going here, giving them that weight, spotting somebody here. So you don't have a chance to even have conversations about, how's your sleep? How's your stress levels? Are you in a good mental place today? There's no time.
And that is the magic. And that's why I stopped doing personal training. Like, I mean, I've got the odd client here and there, but and even then I found doing shorter workout sessions, but then having 20 minutes to talk about what's going on with nutrition, what's going on with this stuff.
Yeah.
Made a massive difference.
Yeah. I've got a couple of hours. I train a couple of vulnerable ladies. My mum looks after vulnerable ladies, and a few of them train with me. Their goals, they're exercising. So I take them through their sessions. I take the baby with me. So it's quite nice for us to get out socially and do that. But we don't have any like nutrition targets, or they just want to move and really enjoy exercising. and I have like a couple mums that that I see. Again, it's just a case of them moving, and yeah, but I just train them. So it's not, I don't do the clients I work with online, I work with in every area of their life.
Yes. And I love that. And that's the difference, isn't it? The PT, I can get you to squat better. We can get them to lunge and all that stuff and get them strong, put some muscle on.
Yeah.
But the transformation happens in the conversations that we have and the questions we ask, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, being consistent in everything they're doing, letting you know that I had a client the other night. I really didn't want to train today. I've had a really long day, but I dragged myself to the gym and I feel so much better for it. You know, and her sharing that win with me, I know that she's ticking off things, making it part of her routine and feeling the benefits of it. You know, that's what's going to help you get there next time you have a really long day and you're feeling really tired. You just remember the time that your session made you feel better.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, like, it's been so awesome to catch up with you. Like, this is magic.
Yeah, it has been.
I know. We should do this again soon, and we'll talk about. There's so many other things I'm sure we can talk about from our.
Yeah. And you know, a podcast is still pending on my list of things to get done. But like I said, business is becoming more organized and more structured. So, you know, it's just a matter of time before I get it out there. So I'll have you on mine.
I would feel honored.
Watch this space.
I feel honored. So, Candice, before we go, just tell the ladies who are listening where they can find you, where they can kind of look up your details and stuff.
Okay, so I have a free group on Facebook, which is helping busy women and busy mums create radical transformation. I share loads of free advice in that group. I do weekly videos and weekly freebies. You can also find me on Instagram at Candice Weymouth, and we'll find the link to the group on there as well.
Awesome. So listen, we should catch up very soon. You've been awesome. I think some of the stuff we talked about today, spot on as ever.
Thank you.
And let's do a part 3. And to anyone listening to this, check out Candice's socials, leave a review, share this with other ladies who are actually trying to get the results and the changes that Candice delivers. So I'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, it's been great to catch up.
It's my pleasure. Take care.
Take care.